Did it go the way you thought it would?
It didn't exactly go the way that we thought it would. I actually came into the game planning to play Wukong, and I was surprised that they banned it out because I haven't been playing it. I actually haven't even won a game in LCS on Wukong yet, but I guess they were like scared of it, so they banned it out, so I ended up going with Vi again.
Okay. And the commentators are actually talking about Jungle Olaf being a really prized first pick, kind of talking about jungle picks here, because that's like the big thing that Zuna's going to play. Were you concerned about that champion at all?
I wasn't really concerned for myself. I was concerned for the lanes because Olaf's allowed to output a lot more early pressure than Vi. So if he gets like a gank off like level 3 or something and then like a lane starts snowballing, I can't really like fix the lane right there. I have to wait till level 6, wait until I hit my power spike, and then fight.
So you ended up having to concentrate more on your own jungle because you got the early invade there.
Yep.
And you're no stranger to invades. You know, CLG got that blue buff steal randomly. So what really, as a jungler, do you want to do to come back from something like that if you do get early invaded?
Well, you want to just keep farming the jungle, especially now with the way that the jungle scales. If you're behind in levels, you gain more experience. So my mentality was like, all right, I'm going to get like as many camps as I can to get a Spirit Stone and a Pink Ward. That was like my main goal on my first clear. So once I had my Pink Ward, I was able to defensive pink my jungle, and then I also had my Spirit Stone, so I'm able to like clear just as effectively as him. And it's kind of like a small advantage you get. Like if they do counter jungle, you won't have that camp to go to, but you'll also have like the time. And that time I used to go back, buy a Spirit Stone, and then I have actually like jungle clearing power over him because he's only on a machete and I'm on a Spirit Stone. So I just wanted to like get back into the game, be able to farm up, hit my power spike, and then try to take over from there.
So it seems like you did actually a really good job. 3-0 and 11 on Vi that game. Ancient Golem pretty tanky. Trinity Force added. What made you decide to add some extra damage to the build? We've seen full tank before.
Just because I felt like we needed a little bit more damage at that point. I wanted to be like a threat in the game, and like full tank Vi is still a threat for a pickoff, but she's not like a threat damage-wise. But with the Triforce, Vi can actually like 1v1 and AD and AP easily. So I wanted to be able to just be a threat in the game.
Speaking of the AD, you guys played against Sivir. She's extremely popular now, and it kind of changes the whole dynamic of team fights. What do you guys do as a team to combat your opponents using Sivir?
Well, the easiest thing to do against Sivir is like when she ults and you have that like 15-second window where they're all moving fast, you just kind of want to disengage and play like within your own team and force them to like extend into you. And then from there, you can maybe turn it onto them, maybe get like a good Vlad ult, just set up some CC. But you kind of want them to just come in, maybe waste a Sivir ult, and force them to commit all the way.
And it seems like you guys did a really good job of playing around Sivir. We actually have a replay of a big team fight for you guys. If we can get that on your screen, we can talk about what exactly you guys did to win the game on this fight.
Okay.
So they're setting up for you guys.
So at this point, we know that Mundo's pushing bottom. So this is why they're forcing the fight. We know that Mundo's pushing bottom and that we have free pressure. So at first, we're like, can we kite it out? But then we realize that they're kind of overextending. So it's a game-winning fight here. Gragas Zanya's, he's far in the back. We're able to kill him. And then from here, we can just steamroll through the team. We can just, Zuna has his ult out. We can just look for targets. I flash in. We get 2 randoms procs on Sivir, and we just chase them all the way down to their base.
And you can just kind of just keep running at them forever.
Yeah, that's the goal.
It's a good way to play. So I want to divert then and talk about the newest addition to your guys' roster with St. Vicious, because we were talking to you off camera about his addition. Tell me your thoughts on him as a player, because his stats don't look great. He was half your team's deaths this game, but I know you don't care about that.
Yeah, I definitely don't care about my support dying at all. I'm just happy that that Saint's really proactive. Like, he's always looking for the play. Like, we make a joke in the house that he's always looking for the pick. Like, we'll all die. He'll be standing like alone, and he'll be like, "All right, let's get the pick on red." And it's like, all right, Saint, calm down. We don't need a pick right now. But yeah, that's just a great mentality to have. You just always look for the pick. You're always aggressive, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But it's definitely a much better way to go out than the way we would go out before, which is just kind of like slowly lose the game.
So are there other people making calls in the game too, or is it just dominated by Saint?
Well, like, I guess Saint makes most of, like, the team calls once we group up. But, like, early game, for example, like, I'll call, like, that first dragon. I'll call, like, the lanes I want to gank, like, where I think the jungler is going. So I pretty much call most of the early game, and then Saint will call, like, the 5v5 situations. Like, oh, we want to have Mundo top and, like, TP in. Or we want to, like, 5-man here in Siege. Like, those are Saint's calls.
So I actually want to track you down on something. You said, I'm going to call it where the enemy jungler is. How much of that is, like, ward coverage? How much of that is intuition? How do you find out when he's off the map, like, oh, he's actually doing wolves right here?
It's kind of just it's both. It's intuition, and then it's mainly just kind of like knowing like how the map's set up. So like in that situation, I knew he did my red, and then I saw him cross mid to their red. So then from there, I can kind of assume that he's going to go to his blue next because that's still up, and then like rotate. He'll be on the top side of the map. So you kind of just call generally where you think he'll be, and just go from there.
It seemed to work really well for you guys. You managed to pan out and win a whole bunch of your early fights, some of them from ganks, some of them just from lane kills. What do you do when you're like, okay, we have the early game lead? How do you sort of snowball from there?
Well, actually, I think that's something that we've been struggling with. Like, the mid-game team fight wasn't that good. Considering we're going into that team fight 4-0, there's no way we should be conceding the Dragon there. So I definitely think we need to work on it. But generally speaking, you just want to play to your team comp's advantages. Like, there we have a Mundo teleport, so that's really big. It's TP pressure, so we can either stay top and have him take down the turret, or he can come bot and just TP in and force a team fight. So you kind of just want to play to your comp's strengths, and it's different every game.
Are you guys working as a team on vision control at all? Because it does seem like sometimes when teams come back against you, it's people getting picked off. And that's really, everybody has to have input on that. And with Zeekend out, have the veteran support there is not available.
Yeah, I definitely think that vision control is something that we lack. Just normally the mentality that you have, especially when you play like support and solo queues, you kind of prioritize like items over wards. And in jungle, it's kind of the same, where you just want to have like the early Triforce, early Elder Lizard, and just run over the game. But that's something that definitely we're trying to work on. We definitely want to be able to control vision and force fights that are definitely on our terms. Because a lot of the fights that we force mid-game are still just like even fights. Like, they see us, we see them, we just look at each other for a while, and then we just like fight randomly. There's not much to it.
Well, but at least it looks really flashy. You get a bunch of kills.
Yeah.
Why is it that the solo queue play style of buy a bunch of items, be a carry yourself, doesn't work in competitive? Why can't you just like buy 8 Trinity Forces, win the game?
I mean, you can do that. There's a time and place. It's just a lot of the time the game's more even, and in an even game on junglers, for example, tank stats are normally more viable. So I'll only really build damage if I like know I'm gonna snowball, and that was like a rare exception where I kind of just like I was feeling it in like the early game. I just like had like good vibes going. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get a Trinity Force and like
kill people.
Yeah, kill
channeling
people.
the freak.
Yes, I was a fan. I'm glad we got you on the desk for this
You
one.
can't actually hold 8 though.
You get them with the team.
You would have to sell 2.
That's worth it though.
You can swap out the trinket for one. And then, go from there.
Don't you know?
Yeah.
You get a boot enchantment as another one. It's extra slot.
Yeah.
So actually, I want to talk to you then more about your Trinity Force buy because it works so well. You talked about being able to 1v1 the backliners, 1v1 big carries. You got a whole bunch of picks on ManCloud, it seemed, running around. How do you find kills like that? They seemed really important this game.
Well, it was mainly just because that was what I was looking for. Like, ManCloud was the big guy on their team. Like, he was huge. He had like a bunch of CS. He had his Grail, his Void Staff, and his Death Cap pretty early into the game. And everyone else was generally weak. Like, we got a bunch of kills top, a bunch of kills bot. Zuna was behind in the jungle. So we knew that, like, if we kill ManCloud, we'd probably win the fight. So a lot of the communication was like, all right, look for ManCloud. If you can get him, just kill him. And that's pretty much what I was looking for.
Were you ready to like set up on rotations? Were you able to get in his mind, know where he was going, or was it fortunate?
Not really. There was a couple times where I tried. Like, I would try to like ward something. I knew he had a red sweeper. I'm like, oh, he's gonna clear the ward now. But he was actually pretty smart about it. He kind of sensed that I was gonna be doing that a couple times. So he didn't. So he actually used his red sweeper, but he didn't even clear the ward because he like had it in his mind.
Wow.
So yeah, I was pretty impressed by that. But yeah, I definitely think that. That it's mainly just go for him. It's mainly just like dive him and try to kill him.
So before this, you mentioned that you were planning on using Wukong coming into this. He has, sort of a similar ultimate where he could do the same thing if you're looking for ManCloud. But it's also AoE. Would you have done sort of the same strategy if you were on Wukong, or would that have changed? Would you try and peel more or something like that?
It depends on how the game was going. If I got like counter jungled really early on Wukong, it probably would have been a little bit more detrimental than it was. So in that situation, I might go tank. It would just really be how the game's going, if I can get off the successful ganks, and if I feel like I can build the item efficiently. Because I want to have it by a certain time frame. Like, I don't want to be like finishing my Triforce at 30 minutes into the game and have no tank stats. So just kind of feel it out.
Great. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations on your win. You guys moved to 5th place up that one. We'll see you next week. Guys, we got more games going on. Let's send across.